In the vast expanse of the Andromeda Galaxy, concealed by a complex arrangement of quantum barriers and gravitational distortions, lay the planet Earth. It was a world where crystalline structures soared into purple skies, and two suns cast a perpetual twilight over landscapes that defied typical physics. Here, the ancient Zerthans had developed a civilization based not on physical matter, but on pure energy. For countless ages, the Xians had evolved beyond physical nourishment, learning to feed directly on the life force of other beings. Their society functioned on a strict hierarchy based on an individual's ability to extract and hold energy. The most powerful Xians fed on the most potent sources of life force, while the weakest consumed ambient energy from flora and smaller life forms. Within the highest tower of the Crystal Palace, Princess Lyra stood before a wall of shimmering energy displays, each showing the unique energy signatures of various species throughout the galaxy. Her delicate azure skin seemed to pulse with its own inner light, and her amber eyes mirrored the shifting patterns before her. Another captivating session, Your Highness. The voice belonged to her mentor, Elder Theron. His ancient physique barely contained the vast quantity of energy he had amassed over centuries. The humans, Elder Lyra spoke, not turning away from the luminous patterns. Their energy configurations are unlike anything documented in our archives. Ah, yes, the forbidden fruit. Elder Theron moved closer, his flowing robes whispering across the polished crystal floor. You are aware of why we avoid Earth, Princess. Their energy signatures are unstable, unpredictable, dangerous. Lyra's fingers traced the outline of a human shape on the screen. Or, perhaps, we are fearful of what we cannot comprehend. The old texts speak of human energy granting abilities beyond comprehension. Those texts are prohibited for a reason. The room's temperature dropped noticeably. Your father, the king, would disapprove of this fascination. My father disapproves of many things that deviate from established energy consumption, Lyra murmured. She then straightened her posture. I apologize, Elder. I spoke out of turn. Yet her thoughts were already racing with possibilities. The clandestine portal hidden within the ancient catacombs beneath the palace, the stolen access codes concealed in her personal chambers, the intricate calculations she had spent months refining. Elder Theron observed her with eyes that had witnessed millennia. Remember your role, Princess. You are next in line for the throne. The future of our energy hierarchy rests upon you. Of course, Lyra bowed slightly, a perfect representation of royal obedience. If you will excuse me, I have meditation practices to attend to. Instead of heading to the meditation chambers, Lyra slipped through the secret passageways she had discovered as a child. The ancient catacombs beckoned, their walls lined with crystalline veins pulsing with raw energy. Here, far from the watchful eyes of the elders, lay the key to her rebellion. The forbidden portal stood dormant, its ebony surface reflecting her resolute expression. Lyra quickly entered the stolen access codes, her fingers dancing across the ancient glyphs. The portal sprang to life, its surface undulating like liquid darkness. An alarm blared somewhere above. They had detected the unauthorized activation. She had mere minutes, maybe seconds. Lyra pressed her hand to the portal surface, feeling its cold energy seep into her skin. Show me what they fear, she whispered and stepped through. The sensation of dimensional transition was like being torn apart and reassembled by lightning. When reality re-established itself, Lyra found herself in a forest on Earth, surrounded by trees that emanated a simple yet pure life force. She examined her transformed appearance. Her skin remained azure, though perhaps a shade lighter, and her ceremonial garments had shifted into something that might pass for avant-garde human attire. Her energy signature felt muted, adapted to this realm's frequency. The sound of a whistle drew her attention. A human male approached along a dirt path, his energy signature blazing like a beacon to her heightened senses. He was tall, with dark hair and a relaxed gait, carrying what appeared to be exploration equipment. Lyra's initial instinct was to feed immediately. His energy beckoned to her like nothing she had ever encountered. However, her scientific curiosity took precedence. She wanted to examine him first, understand what made human energy so unique. The man noticed her and stopped, his eyes widening. Well, this is unexpected, he said with a warm smile that caused strange ripples in her energy flow. I don't usually encounter anyone here, especially not someone so captivating. Lyra tensed, anticipating him to sense her true nature and either flee or try to feed on her energy. Instead, he maintained a respectful distance and continued smiling. "I'm Owen," he offered. "Are you working on some kind of artistic project out here? The makeup and costume are incredible." She blinked, thrown by his casual demeanor. "I am observing," she stated cautiously, testing the human language he had studied. "A fellow explorer?" His face lit up with genuine enthusiasm. "Though you're definitely winning the style competition. That whole ethereal space goddess look really works for you." A laugh escaped her before she could stop it. If he only knew how close to the truth he was. "You are not frightened?" she asked, genuinely curious. His energy signature remained strong and steady, showing no sign of fear or aggression. "Should I be?" Owen's eyes sparkled with amusement. "I mean, you're obviously some kind of performance artist, or maybe filming something. Though, I have to admit, you are kind of intimidating in a different way." "How so?" He ran a hand through his hair, a gesture she found inexplicably fascinating. "Well, it's not every day I meet a beautiful woman in the middle of nowhere who looks like she stepped out of my favorite science fiction novel. I'm trying really hard not to make a complete fool of myself." Heat rushed to Lyra's cheeks, deepening their blue hue. Was this flotation? The concept existed on Earth, but was seen as a wasteful exchange of energy. "You are very direct," she observed, studying him with increasing interest. "Too direct?" he asked. "I can dial it back, but I'd love to hear more about what brings you out here, maybe over coffee. There's a great little place in town." Lyra hesitated at Owen's invitation. Her training screamed warnings about getting too close to a potential energy source. Yet, something in his warm smile made her traditional caution waver. "I should not," she began, but Owen's expression fell slightly, and she found herself surprisingly reluctant to disappoint him. "Just one cup," he followed. "The place I'm thinking of makes this amazing hot chocolate that'll change your life. Plus, if you are doing some kind of artistic project out here, you probably need a break." Hot chocolate? The unfamiliar term intrigued her. On Earth, nourishment came solely from energy absorption. The concept of drinking for pleasure was foreign. "Oh man, please tell me you've had hot chocolate before." When she shook her head, Owen's eyes lit up. "Now, you definitely have to come. I can't let you go through life without experiencing that particular miracle." His enthusiasm was infectious, and Lyra found herself nodding before she could think better of it. "1 cup," she agreed. "Great." Owen gestured down a winding path. "It's just through these woods, maybe a 15-minute walk, unless you need to get back to your project." "I have time," Lyra said, falling into step beside him. She studied his energy signature as they walked, fascinated by how it pulsed with genuine warmth and interest rather than the predatory hunger she was accustomed to from her own people. "So," Owen said as they walked, "what brings someone like you out to these woods, besides obviously being part of some amazing artistic endeavor you can't talk about?" Lyra chose her words carefully. "I am researching, learning about different ways of life. Anthropological study, something like that." She watched him from the corner of her eye. "You are very accepting of strangers you meet in the forest." Owen laughed. "Yeah, probably not my smartest move, but there's something about you." He trailed off, then added quickly, "I mean, you seem genuine, even with the whole mysterious act. And you are not concerned about my intentions, should I be?" He grinned. "Planning to harvest my organs or steal my soul?" Lyra nearly stumbled. How did he get so close to the truth while clearly joking? "Nothing so dramatic," she managed. They emerged from the forest into a small town that made Lyra's senses reel. So many humans in one place, their energy signatures creating a symphony she could barely process. Yet none of them seemed aware of the power they radiated. The cafe Owen led her to was a cozy establishment with warm wooden walls and soft lighting. The smell of unfamiliar substances filled the air, making her head spin slightly. 2 hot chocolates, please, Owen told the barista, with extra whipped cream. He turned to Lyra, trust me on this one. They settled into a quiet corner booth, Lyra perched carefully on the edge of her seat, hyper-aware of every human around them. None showed the slightest interest in feeding on each other's energy. How did they resist? Here we go, Owen placed a steaming mug in front of her. White cream swirled on top, and the rich aroma made her skin tingle. Lyra stared at the drink, uncertain how to proceed. On Earth, the closest thing to this would be direct energy absorption through touch. It won't bite, Owen teased. Just be careful, it's hot. She lifted the mug to her lips, mimicking his movements. The first sip hit her senses like a dimensional portal. Warmth spread through her body, different from energy absorption but somehow just as powerful. Sweet, rich flavors she had no reference for danced across her tongue. Oh, she breathed, eyes widening. Right? Owen watched her reaction with evident delight. Nothing quite like your first sip of proper hot chocolate. This is common here? Pretty standard comfort drink, yeah, especially on cold days. He tilted his head. You really haven't had it before? Where are you from? Very far away, Lyra said softly, taking another sip. The warmth seemed to spread through her entire being, but not like the aggressive heat of energy consumption. This was gentle, soothing. Let me guess, somewhere in Europe? Your accent is really unique. You could say I'm from another world entirely. Lyra allowed herself a small smile at the literal truth in her words. Mysterious and beautiful, Owen mused. You're really committing to this ethereal character, aren't you? Perhaps I am simply being myself. Even better. His smile turned softer, more intimate. You know, most people would think I'm crazy for inviting a stranger from the woods for hot chocolate, but something told me you were different. Different? Lyra repeated, tasting the word like she had the chocolate. Yes, I suppose I am, in the best way. Owen leaned forward slightly. Want to take a walk after this? The town's really pretty at night, and I know all the best spots. Lyra knew she should refuse. She had what she came for, confirmation of humans' unique energy signatures. She should return to Earth with her findings. Instead, she heard herself say, I would like that. They finished their drinks and stepped out into the evening air. The town had transformed in the gathering darkness, lights twinkling like distant stars. Owen led her through quiet streets, pointing out local landmarks and sharing small stories about the place he called home. And that's where I had my first kiss, he said, gesturing to an old oak tree in a small park. 7th grade, Sarah Matthews, totally awkward, completely magical kiss. Kiss? Lyra asked, the word foreign on her tongue. You know, pressing your lips to someone else's, usually when you're attracted to them. When she continued to look confused, he laughed. Come on, you must have kissing where you're from? We have different customs for expressing attraction, usually involving careful energy exchange rituals under strict supervision. What kind of customs? Lyra struggled to explain without revealing too much. We are very reserved. Physical contact is rare and carefully controlled. Sounds lonely, Owen said softly. The simple observation struck her deeply. Was it lonely? She'd never thought about it before. But here, watching humans interact so freely, sharing warmth and touch, and something that went beyond mere energy, perhaps it was. Perhaps it is, she admitted. They stopped at a small bridge overlooking a creek. The water reflected the town's lights, creating dancing patterns that reminded Lyra of energy flows. You're not really an actress or anthropologist, are you? Owen asked suddenly. Lyra tensed. What makes you say that? The way you look at everything, like it's brand new. How you speak about customs and your people, like you're from somewhere completely different. The fact that you've never had hot chocolate or heard of kissing. He turned to face her fully. You're either the most committed method actor I've ever met, or you really are from another world. He said it with a smile, like he was still playing along with what he thought was a game, but but there was a hint of genuine wonder in his voice. Lyra should have been alarmed at how close he was to the truth. Instead, she felt an unfamiliar desire to be honest with him. "Would it frighten you," she asked carefully, "if I were truly not human?" "Honestly?" Owen stepped closer, and his energy signature pulsed with something she'd never encountered before, not hunger, not aggression, but something warm and inviting. "I think it would be amazing." Their eyes met, and Lyra felt something shift inside her. All her training about energy consumption and maintaining distance seemed to fade in importance compared to the way Owen was looking at her. "You are very strange," she told him, "for a human." "And you're incredible," he replied, "for any species." The moment hung between them, charged with possibility. Lyra felt an unfamiliar flutter in her chest as Owen's energy signature pulsed with warmth. His hand moved slightly closer to hers on the bridge railing. "You know," he said softly, "I still can't quite figure out how you got that shade of blue to look so natural. It's like your skin actually glows from within." "Perhaps it does," Lyra replied, allowing a small smile to play across her lips. The night air was cool against her skin, but she felt warm everywhere Owen's gaze touched. "Would you think I'm crazy if I said I'm starting to believe you might really be from another world?" "What makes you say that?" Lyra turned to face him fully, his expression thoughtful. "It's the little things. The way you react to everything like it's brand new. How you move, it's almost like you're floating sometimes. And there's this energy about you I can't explain, but I can feel it." Lyra's pulse quickened. No human should be able to sense energy signatures without training. "And that doesn't frighten you?" "Should it?" He smiled that disarming smile again. "I mean, if you were going to do something nefarious, you probably wouldn't have spent the evening drinking hot chocolate with me." "Perhaps that was part of my plan all along," she teased, surprising herself with how natural it felt to joke with him. Yes, the classic alien strategy, seduce humans with chocolate before the invasion." He laughed, then added more seriously, "Though I have to admit, if you are planning an invasion, you're doing a pretty good job with the seduction part." Heat rushed to Lyra's cheeks, turning them a deeper shade of blue. On Earth, such direct flotation would be considered scandalously wasteful of energy. Yet here she was, finding herself drawn into the strange human dance of words and glances. "Would you like to see something?" she asked impulsively. "Always." Lyra glanced around to ensure they were alone, then held out her hand, palm up. Concentrating carefully, she allowed a small amount of her natural energy to manifest, just enough to create a soft golden glow that danced above her skin like the aurora borealis in miniature. Owen's eyes widened. "Okay, that's either the most amazing special effect I've ever seen, or..." He reached out slowly, his fingers hovering just above the dancing lights. "May I?" Lyra nodded, holding her breath as his fingertips passed through the energy display. The contact sent a shiver through her entire being, not the violent rush of energy consumption she was used to, but something gentler, almost musical. "It's warm," Owen whispered, wonder-struck. "And it feels like what?" "Like touching starlight." He met her eyes. "You really aren't from around here, are you?" Instead of answering, Lyra let the energy dance up his arm, wrapping him in a gentle golden light. His own energy signature responded, reaching out to mingle with hers in a way she'd never experienced before. On Earth, energy interaction was always about dominance and consumption. This was more like harmony. "This is incredible," Owen breathed. "It feels like what?" "Like coming home to a place I've never been." The simple poetry of his words touched something deep inside her. Without thinking, Lyra stepped closer, their mingled energy creating a soft golden cocoon around them. "You humans are very strange," she murmured. "You face the unknown with wonder instead of fear. You offer kindness without seeking to consume. You make me feel things I was taught were impossible." Owen's free hand came up to brush her cheek, and Lyra found herself leaning into the touch. His energy signature sang against hers, creating harmonies she never knew could exist. "May I try something?" he asked softly, "a human custom?" Lyra knew what he was asking, had seen enough of human culture through her studies to understand. Everything she'd been taught told her to pull away, to maintain the proper distance between energy beings. Instead, she nodded. Owen leaned in slowly, giving her plenty of time to withdraw. When his lips met hers, it was gentle, questioning. The contact sent waves of sensation through her that had nothing to do with energy consumption and everything to do with something far more profound. When they finally parted, the golden light around them had taken on a rosy hue, pulsing in time with their hearts. "Well," Owen said, slightly breathless, "I've never had a kiss literally light up before." Lyra couldn't help but laugh, the sound pure and unrestrained in a way she'd never allowed herself to be. "Is that not normal for human customs?" "Definitely not, but I could get used to it." His smile turned playful. "Want to see more of the town? I know a great spot where we can see the whole valley." "I would like that," Lyra said, letting the energy display fade but keeping her hand in his. The warmth of the contact remained, like an echo of their shared moment. As they walked through the quiet streets, Lyra found herself questioning everything she'd been taught about humans, about energy, about connection itself. Her people saw humans as nothing but powerful energy sources to be consumed. Yet here was Owen, offering something far more valuable, genuine connection, wonder, and a kind of energy that couldn't be taken, only shared. For the first time in her life, Lyra began to wonder if perhaps her people had been measuring power in entirely the wrong way. The night air grew cooler as Owen led Lyra up a winding path to a hilltop overlooking the valley. Stars sparkled above them, and she found herself automatically mapping the different constellations from Earth's perspective. "Here we are," Owen said, spreading his jacket on a patch of grass, "best view in town." Lyra settled beside him, acutely aware of how their energy signatures continued to harmonize. It was unlike anything she'd experienced on Earth, where energy and her actions were strictly regulated and always tinged with dominance. "Tell me about the stars," Owen said, lying back to gaze upward, "from your perspective." A smile tugged at her lips. He was still dancing around the truth of her nature, treating it like a game while simultaneously believing more than he admitted. "That one," she pointed to a bright star, "we call Cathra in my language. It means first light." She caught herself. "I mean, hypothetically, if I were from another world." Owen chuckled, "Of course, hypothetically." He turned his head to look at her. "You know, you're either the most dedicated actress I've ever met, or I'm having a very beautiful dream." His hand found hers in the darkness, and that now familiar warmth spread through her at the contact. "Dreams," Lyra mused, "we have those too, though they're different from human dreams." "How so?" "Our dreams are energy patterns, flowing, shifting." She hesitated, then decided to be bold. With a gesture, she created a small display of dancing lights above them, mirroring the patterns she'd seen in her own dreams. "Like this." Owen watched, entranced, as golden light swirled and shifted in complex patterns. "It's beautiful," he breathed, "like the northern lights, but more alive somehow." "Everything is alive with energy," Lyra said softly. "Most humans just can't see it." "But you," she studied him curiously. "You seem more sensitive than most. Maybe you just bring it out in me." His thumb traced patterns on her palm, sending little sparks of sensation through her. "Ever since I met you in the forest, it's like I can feel something just at the edge of my awareness. Something incredible." Lyra knew she should be worried about his growing awareness of energy signatures. It was forbidden to awaken such sensitivity in other species. And yet, "Show me," she found herself saying, "what you feel." Owen sat up, turning to face her fully. His hand lifted to hover near her face, not quite touching it. "It's like a warmth. No more than that. Like standing next to an ocean of light, but I can only see the spray." His fingers brushed her cheek gently. "And when I touch you, it's like what?" Lyra barely breathed the words. "Like touching stardust." The simple poetry of his words moved something deep inside her. Without thinking, she let her natural energy flow outward just a little, wrapping them both in a gentle golden glow. Owen's eyes widened as he actually saw what he'd only been sensing. "Oh," he whispered, "so I'm not going crazy." "No," Lyra smiled. "Though perhaps I am, showing you this." "Why?" "Because on my world, this kind of sharing is intimate, sacred." She met his eyes. "We don't reveal our true energy patterns to outsiders." "But you're showing me." "Yes." The word hung between them, heavy with meaning. Owen's hand was still on her cheek, and Lyra found herself leaning into the touch. "What happens now?" he asked softly. Instead of answering, Lyra did something that would have scandalized her entire species. She initiated a kiss, letting her energy flow freely into the contact. The sensation was overwhelming, not the violent rush of feeding, but something entirely new. Their combined energy created patterns she'd never seen before, beautiful and impossible. When they finally parted, Owen looked slightly dazed. "Wow," he managed, "is that normal for your people?" "No," Lyra admitted. This is not how energy is supposed to be shared." "How is it supposed to be shared?" She hesitated, then decided he deserved the truth. "We consume energy, take it from other beings to sustain ourselves. That's why humans are considered so valuable. Your energy signatures are incredibly powerful." Instead of recoiling in horror, as she expected, Owen just looked thoughtful. "But you haven't tried to take my energy." "No, why not?" Lyra struggled to put it into words. "Because what we're creating together, it's more powerful than anything I could take by force." Owen's smile was soft in the starlight. "You know what? I think that might be the most romantic thing anyone's ever said to me." The absurdity of it, the princess of an energy-consuming species calling a human's presence more valuable than his power, made her laugh. The sound echoed across the hilltop, pure and free.